I'm Dave of Zippy Flies at Tailwater Outfitters, and today we're going to tie the Tarpon Bunny. Is it? Okay, good. Okay, so to start this fly, we're going to place our TMC 600 SP hook from Stu-Apte in the vise. This is a size 1 that I'm going to use for this little bit smaller Tarpon Bunny. We'll start off by laying down a thread base. Thread itself is not super critical. This happens to be 210 denier, but we do want a decent thread base to work with. And one of our first steps is going to be to tie in some monofilament to help prevent the fly from fouling. You can, if you'd like, you can squish this down flat with some pliers, needle nose pliers that is, so that when you tie it, you get a little less bulk in there. That can be a nice little thing to do with your fly, give it a little extra attention. And I think it's those small things that really do make a difference. Why we as tiers tend to tie more than we buy. So once I've got that in place, I'll go ahead and get my my bunny strip here. This particular one is not a magnum cut because it's pretty thick and fluffy the way it is. So I'm choosing not to go with a magnum strip. I typically like the magnum style strips a little more for larger flies. But again, this one's a little on the smaller size, being a 1/0 hook. I like to cut them about 2 inches in length. The tail on the Tarpon bunnies tend to be a little bit longer, and I can always just go ahead and cut this sucker down if I want to make it smaller. So today I'm going to tie this with the hide strip down. I tend to tie most of my tarpon flies with the hide up because my theory is that the tarpon are looking up at it, so I want to give them the furry side. But it can you can do it either way. It really doesn't matter too much. Person I'm going to give this fly to when I'm done with it actually prefers it the other way, so that's my rationale for doing that. Now, as I look at the fly, again, we want to install this monofilament to prevent fouling. But I don't want to put it so far back that I take away all that great action that we get off these bunny strips. So I'm only going to go about a ½ an inch or so back, and I'm going to pierce that hide right in the center with a bodkin. And then I like to get a little aggressive, open up that hole a little bit. And then we're going to take our monofilament. I know you can't really see what I'm doing here on the back side, but I'm just going to go up through that hole that I just created. I'll bring it up out the top. There we go. And then we're just going to tie this back in. Take a little bit of time to make sure that you've got the right amount of monofilament. You know, if you tie it too short, now we got a kind of a funky shape coming up. Of course, if it's too long, now it can kind of bend down the other way. And so what I'll usually do is just kind of find where that pierced hole was in the hide and get it pretty darn close. And that's good right there. Now I could flatten out this again, so it'll be a little bit thinner, but kind of just in the interest of time here with the video, I'm going to go ahead and just tie it in round. It's going to be just fine. And I'll put a couple more wraps there. That is solid. You see people use super glue to put those in. I mean, this is not going anywhere. If that makes you feel better, hey, rock on. Go ahead and put a little bit of Zap-A-Gap in there. But we're not going to mess with that today. Next, we're going to use some cross-cut rabbit strips. And as the name implies, the way that this hide is cut is instead of in line with the rabbit hair, they cut the other way. And so what that means is all of the rabbit fur is to one side. And so we definitely don't want to use this for a tail. It's not going to give us that nice straight action, but this makes a really great collar. And so we're going to get a collar coming up off of here. And we're not going to need a lot of it. The hide is relatively thin on this strip, so that's a good thing. But I don't want to put so many wraps on here that I'm building up all this bulk with the hide. And I got a little extra right there. I can trim that out of there. So that's pretty solid. I'm just going to advance the thread out of my way. I'm going to palmer this around probably 3 times. There's 2. And 3 is looking pretty good. And now I can bring my thread back. I'm just gonna throw that up over. A little tug to set it in place. All right, it's gonna work out well. And then we can wrap back up onto it just a little bit. And my thread broke. All right, through the magic of editing, we are back. Hey, threads are gonna break, it's gonna happen. Things don't always go exactly how we want, so you just gotta deal with it. So, all right, so these cross-cut zonker strips, that's secured in there real well. I got a little bit of extra thread from when it broke off before. All right, so that's kind of our transition. Historically, or typically, tarpon bunnies, after some rabbit cross-cut, you might have some schlopping on there. There's a number of ways that you could finish off this fly, but what we really like around here is something that's almost a little bit shrimpy, kind of on the front. And one of the ways we do that is with some EP shrimp dub. This is the shorter, I think it's 0.75 if I'm recalling correctly. And this color that I'm going to use here is grass olive. I didn't say the colors earlier, but you know, chartreuse, a barred chartreuse, and then just straight chartreuse for the crosscut. And so I'll tie in a little bit of this shrimp dub. We'll keep everything coming backward here. And we're just going to build up a little bit of bulk. Not a lot, not, you know, bulk's not the right word probably. I guess it's more of a, we're going for a bit of a shape on the front, almost like a kind of bullet shape, if you will. Give it a little something else in front of the crosscut rabbit. Because a lot of that's going to lay down pretty flat. It's not going to have a lot of profile, so it's just going to give us a little bit of shape. A lot of times you may see in front of that schloppen that they'll build up quite a bit of a thread base before it's finished off, and they're kind of doing that with the thread. We're just going to use this shrimp dub to do kind of the same idea. We'll still have a little bump in the front, but it's not going to be nearly as big as those big buildups with thread. All right. And so historically, like we were saying on a typical tarpon bunny, we might build this up quite a bit and have a big bump. I'm just going to finish this off right here. Maybe come back just a tiny bit. And keep it a little bit more neat and tidied. Just kind of suits my eye here. Watch, and I got my thread has kind of gotten up in my hook eye there a little bit. All right. All right, good. All right, so this fly fought me a little bit along the way here, but that's all right. We're getting there in the end. Now I got my finger brush, and I'm just going to kind of go against the grain here. All of that goodness that's down inside of that EP shrimp dub brush, I want to get it all out. And now I can start to comb it backwards. And the only thing left to do with this fly at this point is to put a little resin. It's certainly not going anywhere, but I'm going to use just a little bit, put a drop on here. I'm not going to go crazy with it. Really seal it up. If you come in the shop and buy some of our locally tied stuff, and this is the kind of thing that we're trying to do is, you know, hey, our local flies that work for us, it's what we're throwing at the fish. So yeah, they need to be effective, but they're also, you know, I feel pretty strongly there should be a durability piece to this as well. The only reason that this thing should come apart is from a lot of fish chewing on it over multiple times, but it shouldn't be a couple trips on the water and you throw in this thing that they start getting beat up. All right, and there you have it. That's a modified tarpon bunny using just a couple materials. If you like this pattern, you can look in the comment section below to see all the materials that we use in this pattern. And if you got any questions, please ask.